Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Travis Told You on a Monday, December 15th, 2025. Oh my goodness, lots to talk about, lots happening in the world and geek stuff, lots happening in the world and bad stuff. I hope everyone is doing A-okay and having a good time out there. Obviously, Christmas is really just around the corner, right? Hence the hat, hence the Grinch sweater, not even 15 days. 10 days. That's nuts. So I hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. Let me just get this out there. Let's have some fun on a Monday. Let's have some fun on a Monday. Yeah, we got lots to talk about. Today, I thought it was just going to be a Batman-centric show, which we're still going over. So people, what we're going to do here, I'm going to talk about a few things just at the top here. Quick plugs. A little talk about some bad news. I'm going to talk about the Batman stuff on more of a quicker note this time. And then we will talk about the Avengers Doomsday trailer leaks, what we're going to do. So if you're watching live, obviously this is only about an hour 10 show. So if you want to ask anything, send a super chat or join Patreon, because patrons, they get that access as well. We're going to talk about the Avengers thing in two spaces, where we're going to talk about the idea, because that's been a big debate, right? Putting 4 trailers in, or 4 teasers within the next 4 weeks. Is that a good idea for the fan base, for online? I'll say where I am on that spectrum. And then after, yes, I've seen the teaser, screen record it, not sharing it. People, don't share it. Don't get yourself striked or anything like that. But so pretty much what I would assume is, let's say if we talked about the Avengers trailer for like 20-25 minutes, half that will be just the concept as far as what they're doing, and then the other half will be the actual teaser, because I have seen it. They do a big reveal. I had no problem watching it because I'm not seeing Avatar 3 this weekend, and plus the other ones, I would not be going back to see Avatar a bunch of times. I just don't have the time in my life. If you do, that's great. Enjoy the things you love. If you want to go see them all on the big screen, that's great. Even myself seeing this one, I was like, you know what? Because there was part of me like, 4, and there's rumors of a big one. What could it be? Once I saw it, I was like, you know what? Cool. Definitely something big in there, something huge, but not something that's out of the realm of possibility. We talked about that on the last Weekly Geek. Me and Kirkland, I won't specify what, but we said, hey, they probably do this, and they did that, and it's a smart idea. But after the teaser, I thought it was great, but I did not walk away being like, oh man, I really wish I would have saw this, right? So if you are, love it. Hope you love Avatar this weekend. We will have a review for that. Me and Dylan are reviewing Fallout this week. Me and Dylan just reviewed the finale for It, Welcome to Derry. Finale? That's a finale, right? We said that. Oh, excuse me. We got that going on. There'll be a side quest this week. There's lots of good stuff on Patreon, exclusive episodes. We got Bread and Butter, which is talking about our Spotify Wrap. We got Silent Night, Deadly Night retrospective. There, After 9 is this weekend. If you want to call in, join our Phase 2 Patreon up, where you get every episode ad-free, our entire backlog, and some exclusive episodes. But you can also call in, which will be fun, because we'll be talking, I imagine, Avengers and all this stuff. So, we'll be talking about that Saturday, 11 a.m. PST. If you want to phone in, we got 6 slots, so do that. As of right now, someone might drop out, but as of right now, we got 6 slots. But notification people are getting DMCA strike for the Avengers trailer, which makes sense, right? So firstly, just want to start off, this is just in general, man, and I'll bring it up here. This is for everybody, just to enjoy life, be good. Like, you never know what's going to happen, man. There you go. Good reminder. We have the Rise of Skywalker commentary track for Patreon producers early. And I'll shout out those Patreon producers, those lovely producers who get everything early, even the exclusive episodes. Next year, you're getting 30 exclusive episodes in total. Thank you to Patreon producers Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superbad Mike, God Loves Me 69, Charlie Randall, Cocktail Clay, John No H, and Sam Green. Right now, you can get our early exclusive episode of the Rise of Skywalker commentary track. It was a good time. So, man, let's see. So, I might have to start with the trailer reaction. I might have to put some, trailer any minute soon. I don't know, Noel Gonzalez. I don't know if that's going to happen, just because I feel like we'll talk about that if they're going to keep what's going on here. But I see there's a lot of people watching, so we might have to start with the Doomsday thing. And I will, maybe I will actually put some time codes in here. So people, if you're listening, we are going to switch up. I'm going to start this little beginning here. We will do Avengers first, because that could be longer conversation. And then I'll talk about Batman as well, just because who knows how long that goes. People are here live, so we'll talk about it. Espo says, the funny part about this yesterday, I saw a fake Doomsday teaser, super similar to the real one. So I think it's an I Am Victor situation where someone had the details of footage and made an AI version. Absolutely. That's how I saw the F4 credit scene first. I saw it on Twitter. It was an AI version of that scene, but because it was AI, I went, oh, I haven't been spoiled. And then when I saw the movie, it was pretty much, barring the I am Victor stuff, right? But just to start this out, to maybe do a longer tribute in the future, talk about, we got lots of news, but man, just what a bummer. We've talked about this again. Everyone be kind, be good, enjoy your life. If you need help, go out there and get it for your loved ones or yourself. Rob Reiner, not only did he pass away, looks like very terrible circumstances, which I'm not getting into today because it's just a downer. Everyone knows it by now. You can look it up. This guy, you're lucky to make any films in Hollywood, right? With the production, anything. You're lucky to make a good movie in Hollywood. This guy, I'm going to read off his filmography. Rob Reiner has multiple people, like films that are all-time greats. People that are like, this is a phenomenal movie, like ones that have withstood the test of time, that you see. If you can make one movie that when I get my landmark, like, oh, Cinema Years in History here at the Kelowna Theater, and they show A Few Good Men, which he directed, that's in the current reel. I've seen multiple of his movies in many roles. That is like, you are lucky if you can get one of those movies. The fact that he got many, but this is Spinal Tap, which I've not seen the sequel to. But yeah, he passed away, and him and his wife, not passed away, were sadly, looks like murdered, and just terrible stuff, man. It's just such a shitty thing. Yeah, I can't say he's like one of my all-time favorite directors, but appreciate a lot of the movies he did. Like, This is Spinal Tap to me was a huge like footnote for me and my dad, seeing that he introduced me. I feel like it's one of the most first parodies I saw. But Spinal Tap, The Sure Thing, Stand By Me, huge movie for people my age in that era. When Harry Met Sally, like this run right here. Even Spinal Tap, Sure Thing I've never actually seen, but Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, and Misery, and then A Few Good Men. Holy fuck! Like, talk about the skill. And then later on he would do stuff like Ghost Mississippi and Rumor Has and Bucket List, some other stuff, and he just directed Spinal Tap 2, which I've not seen, so I want to see. I've been trying to wait to watch with my dad, but that run right there, the fact that even one of these movies, if he did Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, Princess Bride, Harry Met Sally, Misery, Few Good Men, those 6 movies right there are like legendary, have big moments and influence film and went across time, right? He has 6 of those. And awfully talented actor. I think the last time I saw him, like everyone else, was Wolf of Wall Street. Phenomenal there. So just send thoughts out to fans and family. It doesn't mean much, right? I'm just a little guy who enjoyed his work, but left his footprint in the community, and just, man, such a shitty time. So that sucks. But all right, let's get in this. Avengers Doomsday. The trailer is out there. It's leaked. All this stuff. As I said at first, I'm talking non-spoilers. I'm not talking about anything about the teaser. I will give you a full-on break, a pause, so you can skip ahead, tune out, or skip the time code. I will put that in there. So let me put the actual time code for myself so I know right now. But so it came out last week. It was all like, oh, when's it happening? Blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, well, there's a teaser coming out next week at some point, right? It's like, okay, to me, that always made more sense. Avatar's coming out. You want to link it to that. So you do that. But now it had come out before, and then THR confirmed it on Friday that they're doing 4 leaks. Actually, they are doing 4 leaks now, but they're doing 4 trailers to teaser trailers. This one was about 1:09, just to give you, that's the only spoilers I'll give you. But to every week when you go see Avatar, I'm not sure when it's starting, when it's the Wednesday or the Thursday, there will be a new teaser. I'm not even going to talk about, there is apparently a rumor of what each is centered on. We'll get in that when we do the spoilers portion there. But that's been a big debate, right? As far as, okay, you're doing this, and a lot of people disappointed. And this is where I am, right, dude? I guess I'm not on a... I've seen some people be like, this is disastrous, this is dumb, it's leaking. Do you really want your first look of this to be out there? I think there's 2 people that are annoyed by this the most. It is people like myself that are content creators, where, for myself, right, when I do this episode, it's better if everyone's seen the trailer and then an episode comes out, hey, we're reviewing the trailer, and then boom, everyone can click on it, boom, 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 boom. This is a situation where now people will see it sporadically, right? Some people in GV have seen it today. Some people will see it later on this week. Some people won't see it for a while. And that's where the same thing with people that are watching it, just like on the outside, listen to this podcast, they'll see it later. So I feel like a lot of people that are, I have a hard time believing people that are content creators when they're talking about being a bad idea. I'm always willing to hear them out, but it's just, is it a bad idea for them or for you? For me, it's a bad idea that Stranger Things releases on New Year's Eve and Christmas, because that's a pain in the ass. Is it a bad idea for them? Probably not, because they probably got some statistics of families being at home together watching it, people alone looking for something. It's there, right? And I guess here's my thing is, when no, and we didn't know for sure, right? But with No Way Home, if you remember, like a few weeks before, all those leaks came out, right? It was them standing on the poles. It was Willem Dafoe and Jamie Foxx, like a bunch of key stuff that confirmed everything, and then some trailers. I think the last trailer did confirm all the villains, but still, it was pretty much at least 4 to 5 shots of Toby, Andrew, and Tom. So it's like they're in the, and even Charlie Cox, right? It's like they're in this fucking movie, and that leaked everywhere. Now, I'm not saying they put that out. They could have, right? It could have been a controlled leak, which companies do all the time. But I'm just saying, just use a leak in general, right? Let's say they put this trailer out on Avatar, whatever, and they wanted no leak whatsoever. It's happened. Did it really hurt No Way Home? No. What is No Way Home? Is it like top 5, top 6? Let's see. All-time box office movies. Now, let's take a look. I know it's for sure in the top 10. Let's see. Spider-Man No Way Home is number 8 at 1.9 billion dollars. Almost 2 billion. Didn't open in China, and if it did, it probably could have done that. So to me, and that's the other argument, right? So the argument is the content creators. I understand that from a personal point of view, but that they don't care about you because we're going to cover it no matter what, right? From the people that are like, oh, it's going to affect it. Do people really want to see look at Tom Maguire's dick leak, right? Yeah, a great clip from John Campia. But do people really want to see this footage this way? This is not the way it's meant to be. This is not for those people. To me, it does its job the same way as the chairs, where right now on Twitter, it is the number one trend. People are talking about it because now you get a double dose of, you get the hardcore people tweeting about it, looking for the trailer. That's all it was on my timeline was, anyone got a link? Is there a link? Blah, blah, blah. Like, and luckily found one pretty easily once I heard it's getting out there. I kind of know the right people to follow that I already look after. That person came up, boom, was there, screen recorded, I locked. I'm not posting anything, but I got on the phone so I could share, even with other GV members if they wanted. But that's the thing where it's like, I just don't think the main people, like my sister who does see the Avengers, right? She even said, like, she asked me earlier on in the year, she said, what movies do I got to watch to catch up on? I said, well, not really, especially now after some rumors, right? But there are people like her and my mom that they're not going to go seek out that leak. They might hear about it and be like, oh, cool, and text me, but they're not going to be searching Twitter, searching Facebook. You know what's going to happen? The teaser trailer is going to come out in an HD on their YouTube, and then they'll see it. Or, when they'll see it and what this is for the people that are seeing Avatar that kind of know an Avengers movie is coming out, but don't know when, or they have no idea. I guarantee you there are millions of people that do not know that Downey's back for this, that there's another Avengers, X, Y, and Z, right? The same way as there's certain people that did not know that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield wasn't that, right? That does not affect it. Especially because there's certain things that this teaser confirms. It's like the Toby and Andrew No Way Home thing. We knew the people watching this podcast, the people listening, we knew they were in there, and we still went to see it and still loved it. If that affected your enjoyment, if you got spoiled, I get that, right? Like I got spoiled on Luke dying in Last Jedi, and that affected me a little bit going in because I just was hoping it wasn't true, but I just kind of knew that going in, and that was a bummer, right? Like Taylor with Han Solo. So I get that, but then there's certain things like Toby and Andrew, me knowing they were in there, that didn't bug me. I think if I know I think characters being in things, or maybe some certain moments, doesn't really bug me. I think it's more like the big ending stuff or big character stuff that would really bug me, right? Because sure, I knew Toby and Andrew were in there. That doesn't mean the movie is going to be great. That doesn't mean I didn't know about the whole Zendaya moment, right? That's stuff where it hits you in the movie, right? So that's the thing where this teaser and some of the reveals, it's stuff that we've been talking about for weeks, like talking for months. So if you're in the Discord, if you listen to Geek First, when we say, hey, there's a C-tier rumor about this, oh, look, it's true. like there's literally stuff we talked about last newscast, me and Kirk, like, oh, look, it's true. So it feels like a little, I won't say fake outrage, but it's kind of like what I'll talk about with the Scoopers too, later on with the Batman stuff. I feel like there's people that just, I don't want to, I'm not trying to offend him, but I'm not trying to yuck their yum or say like, oh, you're a loser. It's not that. I just feel like with the Scoop game, with these trailers, everything like that, people get just a bit too worked up and a bit too animated and heated in a way where it's just like, one, this stuff really doesn't matter because it's movies. And two, they just don't think about outside their bubble here. They don't think about those people that, here's Mike. My sister actively avoids trailer for movies she knows she wants to see. It's pretty easy for the general audience to ignore. 100%. My Emily would not be seeing these trailers if I didn't say like lots, or sometimes with the kids, but I'll say, "Oh, look, this trailer's I'll watch," and I'll gauge your interest, right? There's tons where, and I think there's tons of them too where with Emily, it's like her phone might be algorithm because like it's me around talking. Like I think people, and that's where it's just like lately, and I've talked about this, and I'll talk about scoopers too. Like when I was on Vodka Stream, and we were talking about certain scoopers the last time, and I've said this many times. Like when people get mad, certain ones they don't like this, or oh, why did people believe this person? It's just like I guess I don't really care. That's why we always say with our audience, hey, this is the news, this is the ranking. What do we think? True or not true, right? People that get so worked up on these in this way, in the negative way, right? As far as so worked up, I don't understand. To me, it's doing its job. It is leaking. It's a conversation point. People are going to be talking about it for 4 weeks straight. That's what with the chairs, right? Everybody that's like, and I'm someone that really has not much excitement for Doomsday on a big degree. Of course, as Avengers, there's some characters coming back, but I think how we've got there has been not good. And I think the rumors and what this teaser is kind of confirming what one of the main plots is, to me, I'm not that invested in it. It feels like I can't say anything because I don't want to spoil something. It just, as of right now, I'm not invested in what's happening with this movie, right? But I'm still somewhat excited. I'm still here talking about it. I am a fan of this stuff. But I think that for me, they want to generate, because people talk about like, oh, it's Avengers going to be $1 billion. How can they do that? They like what? Captain Marvel or the Marvels, second lowest MCU movie of all time. And this is in an era where Doctor Strange almost made $1 billion. Thor: Love and Thunder, which tons of people hate, almost made $800 million. Deadpool, Wolverine, Spider-Man, billion, close to 2 billion movies. It's not like, hey, after COVID, a lot of people checked out on Marvel and we're just fucked, right? So we're really desperate. I think they're desperate to a degree with some of the moves they're making, but they know things aren't an instant winner. And I think that's smart of them to go, you know what? They could just try to go a layup and be like, yeah, it's Avengers. Let's not worry about it. I think they're smart because they also know if they can make this movie, I've always said, if they can make this movie a 7 out of 10, I think a lot of the general audience will come back to the Marvel universe and give it a chance. And I think they're going to be smarter in the phase 7 or whatever it is. I think they're going to be smarter that way and make sure they don't take a couple stumbles they did before, right? So this is their chance. So I think to me, the chairs, people complain about the chairs. That was the talk of the town the whole day. New name. What could this be? Who's next? The leaks for the community they're talking about here one hit, and even GA might leak, like go to them like, oh, there's leak trailers, and that kind of adds some like, oh, I'm seeing something I'm not supposed to, that type of gimmick. For me, it is creating conversation online. Eventually these teasers will come out. You'll see them. They'll still clean up millions of views. Maybe they add a little something in there that wasn't in the theatrical ones. And then for the people that are not online, not even like what Mike said, right? Because I'm not sure, Mike, what does your sister do? She's in the theaters. Like if she's in the theaters and there's a trailer, like she knows it's for a movie she wants to see. Is she talking to you or is she avoiding it? That's just me being curious. But that's the thing where there are people that are sitting down, Avatar, you know, those movies are massive. They have no idea. They're seeing the trailer and that gets them buzzing. And a different one, sure, I guess it's just like a different way to do some new hype. Like they're trying stuff out, right? They got enough fucking characters to do all these teasers, right? And again, this teaser was 109 and it was pretty much 2 scenes, if that. Like they are going to generate millions. Okay, she closes her eyes and blocks ears. They're going to generate millions of impressions, stats, clicks, money, monetization for 4 weeks by being the talk of the town in the geek sphere, right? Super easy to do. And it's a great idea before Christmas because if someone, there's a fun aspect, I think, if you see Avatar the second week and you're talking to people that saw it and like, oh, I saw the Avengers trailer. What about this? And like, oh no, I saw this one. The people that are not in the know, that's fun. So I just don't, I understand you might say, this is lame. This kind of sucks. That I get. But with people that are so vehemently like, this is a mistake. Look what you did. It leaked. It's online. It looks shitty. Like, do we really think that's going to hurt the box office? No, what's going to hurt the box office is the reception of this movie. They got opening weekend and they got weekend 2 to me. Those are the weekends they got cleared as far as they'll make a lot of money. They could even make $1 billion first weekend. Like what? Zootopia took just a little over 2 weeks. Avengers made $1 billion or Endgame made $1 billion one weekend. So maybe it won't do that, but maybe it will. To me, what happens with this is the surprises. So like what with Doctor Strange, which I think helped with No Way Home, and then the quality of that. I feel like now lots of people aren't a big fan of Multiverse Man. I won't say a lot of people. I'll just say there's more people that when it came out have spoken about how much they didn't like it. At the time, I don't think it mattered because to me, I think that movie was at least a 7 out of 10 and it had surprises. No Way Home to me is further than a 7 out of 10, but to me, it's still like a 7 out of 10 has surprises. That's why I still feel like if Doomsday and Secret War can be a 7 out of 10 and have surprises and have a good ending as well, that word of mouth will spread and it's just, they clear it, right? Like, I just don't think it will negatively impact it. Okay. So that's my thoughts there. So I'm going to take the first ad break. I'm going to take a drink of water. I am going to talk about the teaser now. So if you have no interest, if you're watching live, you can bounce out. I'll probably take about 10, 15 minutes and whatnot. What should I put up? I'll put up here. I will put this up. Let me do the be right back. Let me do a new one here. Taking the dog out. I'm going to change this. Avengers trailer leak spoilers. So when this goes up, it's not, I'm not talking about it yet. This is the time to get out of here. If you're watching live and want to listen to the rest of the show, when this is up, that means I'm going to be talking about the leak. When it's down, I'll talk about the Batman. Mike, in case you're bouncing for this part, the 2026 question you asked me, I'm not going to answer it because in 2 weeks we're going to record the 2026 preview, and I'll have at the end of the episode we do the top 5, like our most anticipated for the year. So I don't want to spoil that. I feel like knowing me, you can guess. I feel like you can guess number 1. I don't know if you can guess number 2, but I feel like you could. But yeah, I don't want to spoil that. So we're going to take our first ad break. I'm going to take a drink of water. We're at the 22-minute mark here. If you don't want that, bow out, and then we will talk about the Avengers trailer. And then after that, when I'm back, we'll talk about Batman. So we'll be right back. Okay, I hope I've given you enough time. I'm not bringing anything up on the screen, not bringing a trailer up, not bringing any images. I don't need the Geek First channel to get completely struck down. So this is the last warning. If you do not care, if you've seen it, you're good to go. If you do care, if you're planning on seeing Avatar or you don't want to wait, whatever it may be, bow out now. Come back when you have seen, okay? 3, 2, 1. Thanos is back. No, I'm joking. So what I will say is supposedly the 4 trailers, which I've seen a lot of scuttlebutt of, the 4 teasers are centering on what is it? It's Cap for this first one, which that's revealed. Steve Rogers confirmed, which we'll talk about. Steve Rogers, Thor, Doom, and just a teaser trailer, right? I'm wondering what they're going to do with the first 3, if they're eventually going to release those or just release the teaser trailer online. I don't know. I wonder if it's something where they let this play for a week and then a week after they play, okay, the Cat one's online. And even at the end of that trailer, you could do something like see more teasers online in the theater with Avatar, right? So you could do that. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but we'll see if they could maybe not even release all 3 of them, right? But I think the teaser trailers are for sure one they will release. So this happened. I think I get it with certain people because I'm not an F4 guy, but I understand if they're your favorite group, characters. I do understand, and I am this way with Doom, right? As far as I still wish they recast Kang and they went that route. We got to Doom later. It does feel like a bit of a rush to Doom. It feels like it's just thrown together. Downey as Doom is also questionable. We'll see how that plays out as far as is he a variant, is he not? It is. I thought it was going to be the teams. I thought it was going to be Sam's Avengers, Thunderbolts, F4, and then the Doom one, right? Or an overall one. The fact that there is no F4 and they are the prime, antagonist, protagonist, combo, Doom and the F4, specifically Reed and Doom. That is something. Now, maybe the teaser trailer will touch upon that, but I'm saying with the way they're doing it, it makes more sense. I will put out my condolences for you F4 fans as far as especially too, they had this plan already, but when Fantastic Four had the lowest MCU Disney Plus debut, I think they're kind of like, yeah, we got to make people care about F4. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, to give up on them. No, I think Offset is the biggest film last year. I really like that. That was my favorite comic movie of the year. So to me, don't give up on it. Make people care about the F4. I just think currently, what I'd said before that movie came out, I don't think people care about the F4 like the comic community does. It is surprising. X-Men I'm not as surprised about. I feel like you build that could be surprises. I just feel like with F4, that is a team they just introduced, and it's a core MCU team now, right? Where the X-Men is still a team of the past. So I'm more surprised by F4 than X-Men. But so we get this teaser. we have, let me bring up the image so I remember kind of the order. Again, I'm not bringing up the image for the stream. Sorry, people. I do not want I do not want anything bad to happen to me. So it starts with like a piano theme of the Avengers theme. That's great. And then you get him pulling up on a bike. Steve Rogers is back. Let's see. Superman Mike says, pour one out for every post-Endgame character that will get barely any screen time, if any. And we will talk about that because, Mike, this trailer kind of just confirmed I think this being the first one, I'm saying trailer, I know it's a teaser, but like this being the first one confirmed a lot of my fears where I'm looking less forward to it, even though I love this character and I love the performance of it, but I don't know. But he pulls up on a bike. It's of the old house that we're left with the Endgame, right? Where Peggy is. There's a thing of him putting the suit away. So I'm imagining this is roughly after Endgame. We don't know what's happening. I know people have debated the whole, there's this Steve and old Steve and yet and I guess it's just because I'm on the other side of it, right? And chat, you can let me know. But like people have been like, well, how come with old Steve, wouldn't he tell them about Doomsday and all the stuff happening? Again, when you read what they did with that movie, the writers thought one way and the directors thought another. They didn't even have it clear. Now, could you say that's bad? Maybe, especially because we're doing a direct sequel to Steve Rogers. It worked easier when he was left alone. It's like, well, we can leave that up for interpretation of, is this time travel? Is this not Aaron Rodgers? Is this Steve Rogers who was always in the MCU as Cap, went back and he became an old man? Or is it him in a different multiverse? To me, it was Chris Rogers. I'm mucking up his name all the time. Chris Evans staying in a multiverse. I thought that worked better for what they set up in Endgame, and I thought that worked better for the story and made it less messy. Obviously, if you're a time travel person, I understand. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong, but to me, when people are like, how is this going to affect old Steve? I'm like, well, old Steve's doing his own thing. Like, he's in a different sphere right now. But anyway, so I've always imagined imagine in that. That's why I don't like the time travel thing, right? As far as if he goes back, imagine if he goes, Hydra, they're all in S.H.I.E.L.D. And if he kind of lives in this reality that is the perfect good reality, right? If he lives in the universe where he did save anyone, he stopped 9/11, like he knew all this stuff was coming and he could do that, right? And that's why kind of we've heard this rumor of like him doing this causes some incursion or something to kill or injure Doom and kill his family, right? I think that's a great way. It's like, imagine if Steve Rogers is living in utopia. Imagine if he's living in the best reality possible and Doom's living in the worst. So that's why, to me, it works better as far as not, well, he's just a guy who's standing there. It's like, he's going to know that certain people are going to get killed, not do anything about it. I guess there's a way you could do that, but I just felt like the time travel, the multiverse rules that say it's set up in Endgame, that does not match. So, and we've heard rumors about all this stuff, but he gets there, he puts the suit away, he picks up a baby. It is confirmed that him and Peggy, I guess probably Peggy Rogers now, got it on, had a baby, had a son, he is a father, and then it just ends with fades to black. Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday. Obviously, this was, like, plot-wise, it was just, okay, he has a baby, that adds some stakes, right? This teaser is really nothing if you are like us, if you listen to these podcasts, if you're in the Scoop game, if you're listening to any of that stuff, right? We've heard for a while, and even Deadline, like a couple years ago before they started filming this report, like Rogers is back, or Evans is back for like a 2-picture deal, right? And Evans was like, news to me, and this whole time he's been saying news to me, and it even came out again last year, right? And I still thought he could always come back, especially Deadpool and Wolverine. He already came back for that. It's like, that's easy. Once Danny came back, I think we all thought the jig is up. They're all coming back in one way or another. Whether they're doing like him, they're playing villains, whether it's a cameo, multiverse stuff, whatever. This was not surprising. But this is to confirm for, Jimmy Two Shoes, who, yeah, exactly, right? Pluto, Steve just let Bucky be brainwashed for another 60 years. That's my problem, is people have said, oh, well, he went back in time and just didn't do anything. I just can't believe that Steve Rogers would just sit back and let all this really terrible stuff happen when he could change something, right? Because they did not specify that when it's like, oh, you change that, something bad could happen. Tony did say, like, you mess with time messes back with you. So, like, you can get there, but they showed in the way their multiverse worked that you're just creating a new timeline, a new sphere, right? Super Mike says could also be that they make the older Steve at the end of Endgame an imposter or something. Yeah, I don't love that because Mike, where I am, I'm prepared for these films not to be great. So I don't want like a Force Awakens situation when you watch that. And to me, I still love Force Awakens, but then like, oh right, these things happen. So I think it's kind of similar to like Rhodey, right? If we learn that Rhodey was a Skrull for Downey dying, and it's like Skrull Rhodey or Scrody as Marvel Lines calls him, hanging out there. I don't love that. So that's where it's like I don't think you're wrong. They could do that because Evans many times has said like, oh, I could come back to the MCU, but the whole Captain America thing, I don't know if I want to do because it's a perfect ending, right? And here we are, less than a decade, and it's happening, right? You could do that. I just really hope they don't. Just for that moment of, you want to tell me about her? No, I don't think I will. That would be kind of ruined for me, right? So this trailer is to reveal that Steve Rogers is back, Chris Evans is back, and me and Kirkland were talking about it, right? Because there's heavy rumors about Toby, and we said, "Okay, if you're sitting down and say we're going to show for this first teaser," and we thought it was one at that time, right? But for the four, if we're going to show one thing, obviously a look of Doom or Downey, yes. But if you're going to show one big chutzpah moment, one big juice gasoline moment, what's it going to be? What's going to get people talking? It is Chris Evans. The same way when Downey came back, got people talking, whether this is good or bad, people talk. Same thing with me, whether this is good or bad, it's getting people talking. For me, it's bad in a sense. It's bad in the initial phase as far as this is confirmed. And I agree with you, Mike, saying I don't think we get out of this without Endgame ending being ruined in some degree. I think I think you're correct. I've said this before since this movie since this Downey thing happened. I'm buckled up for a Rise of Skywalker situation where check out our commentary track. I don't hate everything about that movie. It's not like one of the worst movies ever, but I think for the Star Wars universe, for Force Awakens, even Last Jedi, and maybe we'll have to see with the Star Wars fan base, I think it hurt a lot of things. And I think with this does feel like, and I saw, this is not my, don't give me ScarJos. Oh my God. This is not my quote. Somebody brought this up, right? As far as I saw, because when I was looking for the trailer day, when someone said, man, if this plot line is true, they missed the point of their own movie or their own point in Endgame, where there's a moment, right? Where obviously Thanos wins, they kill Thanos, and they got to go back to all this stuff. And the ending, before the Trinity fights Thanos, and he says, you couldn't deal with your own failure, and that's brought you back to me. And that's what this screams, right? I've said this before when it was rumored, and now it's confirmed. This screams leftovers. Now, here's the two things. Maybe Steve isn't a main character. I bet he is, but maybe he's not. Maybe Doom kills him right away, and then we move on. Then that sucks as well. Just have Steve be empty. Like, if Captain America or Chris Evans is gonna make a cameo, I would rather them not kill off Johnny Storm or make him do Evil Cap and do something with that. If it's going to be something just very quick, leave Steve Rogers alone. So that's why I don't think it's going to be something very quick. And that's where the flip of that is, okay, it is him being a main character. This just sucks in that way where it really feels like, and this is where I said when people get heated, I'm having fun. I'm getting heated. At the end of the day, is it really going to bug me that phase 4 to 6 maybe meant nothing? No, not really. I'm talking when we're having fun geek conversations, not like how people get online and they make it their whole personality of like, I hate James Gunn. I hate Jeff Snyder. And all they do is tweet about it. I had to unfollow people this week because it's like, man, like, do something else. I will not tweet about this stuff other than to promote the show. I'm not going to be like, oh, they're making this big mistake. I, on occasion, do. I did with WWE this week because I usually don't watch full shows, and I was just like so baffled. Check out the gimmick. I was so baffled by this finish for a match, right? I was like, okay. But like, to me, you're fine to tweet something out. Opinions, that's okay. It's when people have like 3 to 4 tweets in a row. It's like, man, now it's time. I hate saying the touch grassing because it's cliche, but go out there, breathe some air. So at the end of the day, if they screw up Endgame in this, I'm not going to like, you know what, this sucks, but I will move on. And every time I talk about this, I'll go, that really sucks. They really fumbled there, but alas. So to me, is it really like, man, I wasted my time with phase 4 to 6? Nah. I had fun time with the boys. It was a journey. Do I wish it was better? Sure. But in this sphere of looking at it critically, yes, it feels like that. If Steve is a main character, it feels very much like, and we've heard this before, and I feel like them leading with Steve with this trailer is that it feels like they tapped out. They tapped out on their characters that they created here. And I'm not saying they won't be in here, But Shang-Chi, the Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Moon Knight, anybody else, it just feels like, man, people, and even these rumors we talked about before, right? Of rumors of them recasting Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. To me, that's them missing the point. People didn't know fucking Guardians. People didn't know Captain Marvel. People didn't know Ant-Man. But you made great movies or stories, or to a section of people, you made good enough stories that they got invested in these characters. You could make any character become investable. You could, these Grinch socks that I'm wearing right now, you could make $1 billion movie if you play your cards right. A lot harder nowadays, right? Because of box office, COVID, streaming. But I'm just saying that, and it's not universal, right? We've seen great stories and movies bomb. I'm not saying it because I hate when people say that, like, you just got to make a great movie. No, not that. But I think we saw multiple times that the audience was locked in and they made multiple mediocre to bad movies or show in these phases. And I think they blame it on, well, people just don't like these new characters, so let's get the old ones back and let's give Downey a bunch of money. That's yeah, there you go. Black Panther made $1 billion. Exactly. Like, and that's in the height of Marvel, right? Sure, but still, why aren't they in the the height of Marvel? That's on them. Whatever it is, Disney, Bob Iger, Bob Jacob, Kevin Feige, whatever decisions, and a group effort, that's on them. They had the audience on the ride, and then at one point when they would get in the cart for the roller coaster and go, woo, up, upside, and down. And when they'd say, you want to go again? They'd go, yeah. You know what eventually happened? They went, I'm good. You lost them. You lost some of them, right? So that's where, for me, this is clearly just to get back those people that they lost. Let's get Downey back. Let's get Steve back. He's going to be a main character. Yeah, da. I think a lot of the newer characters are at risk. I think a lot, and it's tough too, right? When, like, I love Thunderbolts, but when you look at the box office, it's hard to justify that. I think people did check out and they're not giving Marvel chances. And why would they go back and do Thunderbolts 2 when they'll be like, let's do X-Men, let's do a new Tony Stark, let's do new Steve Rogers? Because I do think those characters are people that they will give a chance to again. But to me, that makes me more worried for the next phase 7, 8, 9, as far as, okay, so if these also suck, you can just disregard these and throw these out, right? So it is disappointing. Now, my hope is that they tie it all together, and I'm wrong. The Russos were great at that. I've said this before, even in Endgame, a movie like Thor Dark World, which I had no interest in, was the lowest tier of the MCU at one point. They wrote that in and made it work. They were like, oh, this thing that everyone kind of dogs on, they made it vital. I don't think they can do that with how many projects they have now with these, but maybe there is a way to do these things and land the plane safely, right? I think with Rise of Skywalker, the way they land the plane was damaged and you could never fly that plane again. And I've said this before, if this movie or Secret Wars is a Rise of Skywalker situation, I think a lot of this is people giving it a second chance. I'm not saying in droves they will come back, but I think people that are lapsed MCU fans will give it a second chance. If these movies don't hit, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again, I'm taking some water here. And just around the corner, you got DCU kicking up. You got this stuff. It's something where people could move somewhere else, right? Super Mike says, could also be a situation where Secret Wars does worse than Doomsday, like Star Wars sequels. Absolutely, right? And like, even like for you, Mike, right? Like Wicked, and because you even say like the second part of the play, but that's where I feel that even if it's word of mouth, Wicked had the strong stuff, but if let's say Doomsday gets bad word of mouth, people will, I don't think, flock to Secret Wars. They still have the ace in the car that I've always said. They'll make a fucking poster of Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire standing side by side, and it's $1 billion, right? Technically, even with the Star Wars sequels, they kept going down, but they still made $1 billion, right? Still massive successes, even though, especially Rise of Skywalker, very expensive. To me, this is all about the retention. I feel like these movies are baked in. If neither of these movies, one or the other, does not make $1 billion, then they're cooked. Then they're in big trouble. It doesn't matter how good it is. Then there is an issue there. It's like, even these big head honchos where you're bringing back so many people, if one of these movies doesn't make it, you're in big trouble. And you got to hope these movies are great, right? But to me, this is more of a retention play where you want to do a big thing, maybe reset everything, get the money, but you want to make people feel like they love Marvel again. And if they do, as I've said this before, Spider-Man, you're hitting with Spider-Man, boom. We've heard about Doctor Strange and Black Panther 3. Those are stronger franchises, boom, boom. X-Men around the corner, boom. They will start leading with just their big things. That's why we've heard rumors of lots of shows and movies going away because they don't have faith in it, right? So I will see. I'm going to hope. Obviously, the Russos have had a tough time with their movies that are not MCU, but the MCU movies, they've delivered some of the all-timers, right? And I think as a teaser, taking myself out of this as a teaser, and if you're just excited to see Steve Rogers back, I think it's really good. He pulls up, you got the Avengers theme, you get the theme of him putting the suit away. He has a child, way more stakes to lose this time. You can see him and Peggy got a happy ending, and you go, okay, what's going to happen when this character gets back in the fold, right? People that don't care that Sam's going to take a back seat, they're just happy to see Steve. People like me, it's like, oh, I was excited to see what they do, Sam. We didn't get to do much, eh? We did Falcon Winter Soldier, waited a long time, got a very mediocre movie, and that was it. So, yeah, it to me, this does not get me excited for it. Obviously, now it's confirmation of stuff we've heard going on. I think this is more so just a big, hey, Steve Rogers is back. That's going to get people talking. People like Chris Evans. Chris Evans, I'm sure I'm not saying needs a hit, but like obviously the last few movies hasn't been anything amazing as far as the box office or critically. So I think this helps out. But again, this could be a mistake. They'll come back. If they come back and this sucks, I don't think they care that much, Downey Evans, but there'll be a little bit that would maybe feel like egg on your face, right? You win out, right? It's that idea of people that retire winning the Super Bowl. And it's like, you could go back and win another one, but if you have a very awful season, does that stick with you, right? I don't know. And I think each to own, right? Because if Downey's getting paid $50 million, maybe he doesn't give a single fuck. Same with Chris Evans. If he's getting paid $25, $30 million, maybe he doesn't give a single fuck if this movie sucks. Like, yep, I'm happy to buy 5 more houses. I'm happy Chris Evans just had a kid. I'm happy to be able to support them and their grandchildren, right? Tons of people do that. Tons of people just accept the gig because, like, I don't care, it's money. And they might say this stuff in the future of like, oh, well, it's, it was such a good way to ending. It's so perfect. I don't know if I could ever go back. Downey said the same thing on Rogan. He went back. Evans has said the same thing multiple times. He went back. So we'll see. We're going to be covering these. I did say, I guess at the beginning, I forgot to say that next week, the Travis Told Yous, I don't know if they'll be happening because because what's happening next week? Is that already Christmas week or got one more? Let me go back here. My God, next week is Christmas. So I will be doing a review of Stranger Things because I'll see that at some point. There's some downtime between Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So that's what I'll say is as of now, don't expect a Travis Told You. It's one of those things that because I might be traveling, I don't know the date yet. If I'm home, I likely would do it, but I'd say next week I'll probably be off, but there's other content that's coming out other than Stranger Things. I will review that. So, yeah, that is the Doomsday talk. It's going to be interesting to see. I think overall, I think it's a fun idea. I get why they're doing it. They're trying to drum up the hype. I understand completely all the moves. Now I'll have to see the actual quality. Getting Steve Rogers out there is a big thing. People that seeing Avatar have no idea about that. Man, is that a big pop moment? And we'll see what happens. So let's end it here for the Avengers. So yes, talking Doomsday is over. I'm taking the spoiler thing down. Let's get that, and I'll talk about Batman, and then we're going to get out of here if I can not open up the wrong tab. But thank you, everyone. If you did just watch for this, very much appreciate it. If you like what I did, as of right now, until January, I'm doing the show twice a week, Monday and Wednesday, usually 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. PST. Obviously next week because Christmas will be taking the day off. And then, I think we'll run some surveys and let me know if you like the show, if you like watching it, tell me how much you watch it, everything like that. I want to gauge. I'm not confirming that I'm going to be still doing 2 a week come the new year, but maybe we'll see. And then if not, we're going to get the boys, because I don't think any of them watch these trailers, but we're going to be talking Avengers, the lead up, the trailers, the movie, all that jazz, and we cover all this stuff. So and speaking of the Batman, so this is where there's 2 things I had to do here, right? Where I've said to you guys, I had a couple days off last week. Is my daughter's Nutcracker. That takes up a lot of time. So a lot of time I'm on the phone, or like I'll go watch Nutcrackers. I'm in the theater for 3 hours. So when I was in the theater for the first time for 3 hours, all this stuff kind of broke. And I just pulled my phone like, oh man, why the Brad Pitt rumors, who ScarJo's playing, all this stuff. So I was playing catch up. And the second day happened where I wasn't watching the show, but I was watching Twins. Lots of stuff happened where Gunn was going on one of those debunkathons, right? Where he's saying everything, right? So I'll just give you what the scoops were, which multiple people put out there. And also there's one person that put out the main stuff. And Gunn didn't dispute any of that, right? But, excuse me. So we were talking about who's ScarJo gonna play, right? What's happening? Is it Andrea Beaumont? Is it Vicky Vale? Is there Poison Ivy? All that type of stuff, right? And I said that there were some signs of Phantasm, really wanted to be Phantasm, but is it gonna be? I didn't want to get overly excited and think it was Phantasm. And as of right now, it could not be, right? And here's my point with right now, where most of the time on the show when I'm giving the guys news, because if I say Justin Kroll broke this news, because they like, I try nowadays that I definitely am online, but I try to pick times, whether I am like, if I take the bus. So if I have downtime, if I'm at the bus or if I'm at a doctor's appointment, just in there, yeah, that's when I'm going to be scrolling Twitter. Most times, or if it's during, I've said before, usually like this morning was because of the trailer, or like most time is if I'm watching wrestling, because follow all wrestling people in there. There's fun conversations and get to see like kind of what people's reactions are to stuff. But nowadays, I try to take breaks from it. I try to literally put the phone somewhere else, go away from it. I have notifications on certain pages, so if it's news or stuff that I'm interested in, I go, okay, cool. So I don't have to just scroll to find the news, right? And luckily, too, I've said this before, that's why I hang on the Discord a lot, because the Discord drops a lot of news in there. And join our Discord. Tons of conversation about all this stuff, right? So for me, it was the thing of I got bombarded with the news, and then I got bombarded with people's reaction to Gunn debunking this, right? And Dylan, Taylor Kirkland are even more so I feed them news. They're linked into the community, but they don't know the certain scoopers or the A tier. They might, if I try to say something now, they might go, oh, that kind of sounds familiar. But if I say, hey, Justin Kroll reported this news, Boris Kitt reported this news, Jeff Snyder reported this news, Daniel RPK reported this news, they don't know. So that's why on the news we do A to C tier, right? Now, Jeff Snyder is the one that broke this news that we'll talk about the Batman stuff. And I put him in the B tier. Some people might not like that, but talking about Doomsday, like he's the guy that put out Downey's playing Doctor Doom, and then it was confirmed a week later. He put out the I'm talking about recent scoops, right? And he put out they're going to announce 3 Star Wars films at Celebration, and that's that. They did that, right? My point is not to, because I watch the hot mic that he does. I watch it because I'm a fan of John Roca. John Roca, a couple of years ago, he hosted our Marvel Alliance for Extra Life. I love that. He was great he didn't have to. He didn't I didn't do anything, didn't pay him anything. I never guessed on a show because he's a bigger guy than me. He didn't have to do anything. And he was very nice. He just knows that I was a fan. We've talked a couple of times and I asked, hey, could you do me a favor? He took an hour and a half time to do that. Was very grateful. And I've been a fan of, when I started getting into podcasting was like most people, Kevin Smith, but it was Kevin Smith, Campia, the Schmoes, Collider, and Roku kind of came along with that, right? And those are kind of same people I listen to, even though I don't listen to the podcast that much. Now I listen to them and my friends. So I'll listen to, obviously, anyone on GOA. I listen to Ben on Real Anarchy. I listen to Dave on the Vodka Stream. And I'm not saying every week, but when it's topics I like or whatnot. And sometimes there's something I like I just can't get to, right? But now it's like a few of those old people, and then some people sprinkle in like a Dan Merle. So there's people I have, but there's also people I used to listen to that have gone away, whether I don't enjoy their content anymore, whether it's the type of content they cover or just the person they've become. But that's where it's like, okay, right? So, and I've talked about this on Vodka Stream where there's a lot of people with the Snyderisms that hate Jeff Snyder, right? And there's even people that I follow that either was too much. I was like, okay, no, I'm not gonna mute you, but you gotta stop. Or I did unfollow a couple because it was the both of defending Gunn and Snyder. We're in a situation with the both where I'm saying is it's not me defending Snyder and the scoops. It's what my problem is with people, how they handle scoops is because they don't like said individual. It is it's literacy media illiteracy where because they don't like said person, everything is wrong. I'm not saying Jeff Snyder doesn't get a lot wrong. He is wrong a lot of times. I'm not saying you can't take it to the bank like a THR or Deadline, anything like that. Yeah, Dan Merle is great, especially for box office, says Superman. Absolutely. I love his reviews. That was another one I watched back in the day. It was Screen Junkies, and obviously lots of bad shit went there and it disbanded, right? So that's what I mean. There's people I don't listen to because I don't like their content or a lot of bad stuff happened and digress. But Dan Merle, he's great, right? So for me, I guess what I get annoyed by is people, it's just the blind, oh, this guy always has to be wrong. Jeff Snyder has me blocked on Twitter because years ago I followed him because of Schmodown, and I talked to him a little about stuff, and I think I made a joke about the Patriots cheating and then blocked. And that's fine. He can do whatever. I'm not a Snyder fan. If Snyder was doing his own podcast, I would not be listening. He just happens to be, and I do think him and Roka have good chemistry. And I don't hate any of these scooper on, because if I hate somebody, I just can't listen per se, right? So I guess I don't hate Snyder. I don't enjoy or like Snyder, but I like Roka and they have a good chemistry and they talk about inside news stuff. And there's tons of stuff that they both say they go, I disagree with, right? So he had put that out there, and then Gunn had been debunking a bunch, right? And people go, oh, I love when they debunk this. And that's where, for me, we just talk about the news as far as this is the ranking, this is the news, what do you think? And I'm just putting this out there for any of my friends that listen. if you get this heated about that scooper, or you get this heated about James Gunn, because James Gunn's the opposite, right? Or the other side where people say, oh, well, he said this. There's been so many times where Gunn has lied or just said things that weren't exactly true, right? And it's fine. It's not a thing for me. It's just that the way it was like, well, I'm not going to believe it until James Gunn says something. And then he says something like, see, there it is. Okay, so like with Ultraman, when he said Ultraman's on this movie, Ultraman was in the fucking movie. Like, that's the thing. There's countless times where he'll say things that contradict himself. Whether it is he is lying or whether he is mistaken, whatever it is, I don't care. But it's when we're talking in a point of view where it's like, hey, I can believe this person as much as like a certain percentage because they've said X, Y, and Z, and they've been wrong about X, Y, and Z. And all I'm saying is because I think if I was happening live, it was fine. But what I did is, because the news, I got on there, scrolled, because I hadn't been on the phone for about 4 hours, scrolled, and it was a combo of all this stuff. And it was like, you get too worked up. This is supposed to be fun, entertainment, movie news. I guess if there's a scrupy or hate, I guess I understand. But unless he personally did something to you, I don't understand that. Unless James Gunn personally did something to you, I don't understand it. It's just like, if you don't, mute them and don't talk about them. Don't talk about that. It's like what I said about the WWE thing, right? You can occasionally talk about it. I did this week have one negative tweet, and then I had a tweet promoting that show that was positive, right? But it was about the DQ finishes. But because I don't watch, I've been there, which was like, 2013, 12, where it's just like you tweet and you're mad, and that's just like, there's not really much of a point to it because the conversations are better here, and it doesn't do good for your life because you just go, right, this is just entertainment, and you can't get worked up. I guess for me, it's just like there's people that are similar to my age or older that are getting so worked up, and I'm just like, haven't we outgrown this? Isn't this the time? Because you just realize, oh, this is just fictional stuff. It doesn't really bug me, because there's scoopers that, are effed here, and they put out the most shit. I just laugh, or we have fun with it, or even James Gunn when he says something, it's like, I don't think that's really true at all, but people get so worked up. So that's all I'm saying is, if any of you listen, you don't do that, right? And then let's say I have High Ground says Gunn isn't trying to spoil the movie. Gunn isn't trying to spoil the movie. He isn't lying. He didn't gotta say anything though. High Ground, right? And even this, I love like what he said with these tweets, right? Like when he said like, I don't address silly rumors anymore, and then was 3 paragraphs. Do I need to make, because anybody that hates James Gunn can make a 10-minute video about like, look at him fucking lying, look at this, he said he wouldn't talk about, but here's a bunch of paragraphs. I just laugh and go, okay, if I bump into people and they say, well, I got to hear it from James Gunn's mouth, I'll go, there are so many examples of why that does not work for me, and that's fine. I don't care. James Gunn makes a lot of movies I like, that's great. But to get so worked up about, and that's where for me it's like, he isn't gonna say anything. So that idea of like, well, he wants to debunk it, but he doesn't want to spoil the movie, he almost spoils it in the sense of not saying something, or it just, like I said, with the Ultraman thing, it adds nothing to it because it just makes him look kind of bad, right? So that's all I would say to him. It's like, you don't got to say anything, right? I think there's certain things you can say, yes. I just think that's the thing where it just, I don't know. So it's strange, but SPUP says you and your friend are going to start watching. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, that's what you gotta do, is vote with your wallet, right? Because I've said this before, where occasionally I will tweet about the Fed, known as WWE, but as I learned, and people had I can't remember what it was, there was some podcast back, and they broke that down when I didn't even think about it, right? When I was younger, of like analytics and tweets, it doesn't matter if something is negative. It's like, if you tweet it, they're getting money off that, they're prospering it. So it's like, okay, if I don't support this company, don't watch them weekly, I'm rarely going to talk about it. And then when I do, if you look at my non-promotion WWE tweets, probably the last time was probably SummerSlam, when they brought back the guy who's maybe allegedly doing sexual misconduct, right? And I'm fine to put my neck out there and say, like, hey, this really sucks, But it's not like I did not make it my personality for months to tweet about it. It's just like, you got to go away from that point, right? So for people that don't like said any scooper, you might not like them, but just let it go. And especially if some of them are right? That's the thing where it's just like, they say these things and they try to parade like, look, they've got all this stuff wrong, but then they can still get something right. I'm not saying like hold the fucking candle to them, be like, oh, they're the god tier scooper. No. And this coming from somebody that's not like a Justin Snyder fan. It's just like, calm down with that. And same thing with Gunn. He's multiple times told mistruths, I'll say, not lied, mistruths, or he did diversions. So that's why it's like when you say, oh, well, it's Gunn or nothing. No, it's not. It's not either way. So he debunked the Brainiac thing, supposed with Dave Bautista being the front runner. There was a report and that's how what bugs me too is when I see my friends do this, where they with this any scooper, right? They go, "Oh, the scooper's wrong again, fucking idiot." And then when the source of the rumor is not them, it's like you just make yourself look kind of dumb, right? You just like, and I've been there before, right? I did this yesterday on the gimmick. I said this to Spubs and David. I got fooled by a parody account of a wrestler tweeting stuff. And I brought it up on the gimmick saying, man, they're tweeting the stuff. I don't like that. That's kind of shitty. And would have to redact that. I'm not going to go edit it out because I would always just say that. So that's fine if you get fooled and you go, oh, you know what? That's okay. But I see a lot of people that don't do that. They won't be like, oh, I got wrong. It's like, I'll see in the comments someone say, oh, actually, this was the case. This was the case. And they're not saying anything. They just want to dunk on that person, right? And that's where it's like, okay, now I take you less seriously and you're my friend. So it's just people, because I think it's because when I saw the Batman news on the Saturday and then the debunkathon from Gunn on the Sunday, and I both saw them in just reduced tweet after another of catching up, it was like, man, people are too fired up. And this is why I'm happy that I put the phone down a little bit. So yeah, that's where, I don't know why I want to talk about it. It was just like my experience of seeing it, but I got 15 more minutes. So let's talk about this now, right? So I guess the one thing that Gunn did debunk was someone had put out that there's two front runners, which is like, I guess two front runners make sense. It's just weird that you feel like someone has to be the front, right? But for Batista or for Brainiac, one person did put out Batista, another said that that's the thing. He said that, okay, he's like, I never said Brainiac was in the movie. You don't need to say that. He said he was doing it because Batista's his friend. I guess. And maybe I'm wrong. This is where I'll completely say I'm naive. Maybe there's a situation. I got to take this fucking sweater off. It's hot. I like wearing the Christmas gear gimmick, but whatever. Maybe there's a situation where Big Dave Batista, the animal, right? He's on social media and he's just getting blown up about these fucking Brainiac tweets, and he messages Gunn, and Gunn's like, you know what? I'll send out a tweet. I'll calm the people down and tell them it's not you. I don't really do this anymore. And you know what? And this is where I'll say on record, if he does that, that's a great friend. If he's like, I said I'll stop talking about these rumors, but if it's annoying you, I'm going to do that. I don't think Batista did that. It's just what I think. I don't think he's like looking like people are talking to me about Brainiac. You should say something. But he said, well, because it's my friend, I'm going to debunk this one. Okay. And he says, hey, Batista's not Brainiac. I never said Brainiac was in the movie. I have ideas for Batista in the DCU. Great. I think Batista as Brainiac, I think would be fantastic. I think as obviously Hugo would be fantastic. Batista's an underrated actor. I don't think he even needed to say that as far as like, unless Batista's in the movie, right? I would have just said Batista's not in this movie, but I have other ideas, but maybe he is. Maybe there's another role, right? So that's where it gets tricky where you answer these things, but I digress. He did that. Fine. The Batman stuff though, much to other people's point on the Scooper side defending it, he didn't say anything about that stuff, right? Where with Robin, there was that rumor about Robin. He did come out and say that's not true. And we don't know if it is true, right? So the rumors were that obviously we talked all about this to go way back to the beginning. ScarJo is reportedly playing Gilda Dent, who I think has a different name like Gilda Gold or something before she becomes a Dent, right? I'm going to try not to do spoilers, but how should I tackle this? I guess I'll say that to the very end. It won't be spoilers, but and then the other thing was, which to me this is the biggest no duh, but is they're casting Harvey Dent. They've no Scooper said Two-Face, but they're casting Harvey Dent. Excuse me, they're casting Harvey Dent. To me, it's like you had a DA in the Batman, and then you killed that DA off. Clearly, there is an open spot for Harvey Dent. Like that felt like, even if it's not Two-Face, it felt like a setup of like Harvey Dent's coming in, so no duh. And then we had heard over the weekend, or I think it was like the Friday, Thursday, that Brad Pitt was rumored to be in this movie, right? Could it be? And Snyder's the first one that put that out. And then this is the thing too, that people, because this is where it's just the media illiteracy, right? He put that out there as not, he even said as an uncredible source, but someone did tell me that they were talking to Brad Pitt. Hollywood Reporter next day says that's not the case, but did confirm that they had talks. So even though the Brad Pitt thing doesn't happen, a bunch of people dunk on Snyder because like, oh, he got wrong. No Brad Pitt. But then S-tier reporters will say, oh, well, they were talking to him for months. It didn't work out. And now the rumor is just scheduling. It sounds like with Stone, it was money. It sounds like with Pitt, it was scheduling, right? So that's where it's just like, that's why I don't even tweet about it, or at least like walk it back and be like, okay, like when people do the dunking on anybody, but it's not true. It's very like political type of stuff, right? Where people just lie to make their point. It's fucking weird stuff people are like. Online does suck. It's, you can't say completely right because you can see good stories and things like us raising 20K for Extra Life. We could never do that without social media. So there is good things about it, but it's a weird fucking place, man. That's why I try to only nowadays, most of the time, other than having some fun, I usually just promote what's going on with Geek First or like the Extra Life or projects, right? So the rumor was he was going to be playing, I can't remember even his dad's name, but he was going to be playing Harvey Dent's dad, who was like an abusive 60-year-old drunk, like stuff like that. Bad relationship with the father, right? And which I think could play in good with Bruce. We don't know if Bruce and Harvey would be friends, but it's this way of, hey, Bruce lost his parents and Harvey has his dad, but his dad's a piece of shit. So it doesn't matter that his dad's alive. He might wish his dad's dead, right? And it sounds like for scheduling or for whatever reason, Pitt didn't get that role or didn't accept that role. So that's the rumor right now, that they are casting 3 roles, that they're casting Gilda, which obviously sounds like it's going to be ScarJo. They're casting Harvey Dent, which there's no names on there. And then they're casting his father, which obviously it sounds like the Dents have a big thing to do with it. People are talking about the long Halloween because Gilda Dent has a big story there. That's all I'll say, right? It has a big story. And I'll just say the idea of a love interest that turned villainous, what we heard a couple weeks ago for this character, fits that story. So it's like, okay, for me, I wanted Phantasm. I never thought it was going to happen. I saw there were some breadcrumbs, didn't think it was going to happen. So I was disappointed, but not overly disappointed. Here's the thing where I'll understand, where it's like the Steve Rogers thing I just talked about with Endgame and with Infinity War, and if they were to bring that character back, right? Not saying they have brought the character back, but if they were to, with it, I'm in like, that's a negative for me. There's people that when this news broke, I saw tons of people, not in like a shitty way or something, but just tons of people that felt like it was underwhelming. And even the chat, like Discord had a couple people, it's like, oh, like, because take out TV shows and animation alone and video games, in just the movies, in 30 years between Batman Forever, Dark Knight, and now this, 3 times Harvey Dent has been a villain or a character, right? That's why I've always said, when people joke or they kind of dunk on making more Batman movies and what more, like, I can't remember who, I think it was Guy when he said, oh, like, you've done, like, what he said, some quote, I mean, I completely paraphrase, right? I'm not trying to dunk on him, but he just said like, oh, there's been so much already, or almost all of it's been done with Batman. How do you make it new? No, it hasn't, in my opinion. There's so much with Bruce Wayne as a character or Batman. You have, like, I feel like the movies have just slightly touched upon how Bruce Wayne could almost be listed as an addict, with that Batman soon being Batman, right? And with characters, Black Mask, fucking Scarface, Professor Pig, even like more and that's the thing. There's characters that they've done, Ra's al Ghul, Killer Croc, Bane. They've not done the fantastical versions. Like, there's so much with Batman you could do. So I understand why the initial reaction is just kind of like, oh, we could have Andrea Beaumont, which we shouldn't have fan cast, but still we could have had her. And it's just Harvey Dent's wife, you know? And it's like, oh, all these talks of who the characters would be, Court of Owls, which is new, Hush, all this stuff. Oh, it's just Harvey Dent. Now, I guess I'll continue on. I guess it hasn't been confirmed that there's more villains, right? 2 things, I guess, back before I close off or before I run away from the disappointment thing. I get that. I understand, like I said, multiple iterations of the character in a short amount of time. Like, sure, like 30 is not that long for movies and TV shows, right? Being adapted. For me, I'm in a situation where I'm sure some people are with the Russos and with Marvel in general still, like, I trust them. They're going to do great. I'm that way with Matt Reeves until I get a film that I do not enjoy, right? Take Fanboy Clay. Check him out. He's on our podcast network, Star Wars Alliance. Always has some hot takes. We rarely agree, but and he did not like Reeves Batman, right? So I can see from his point of view of, you get this, like, I already didn't like that Reeves Batman movie, and now it's Two-Face again. Need to be sold a bit more, right? Where I loved that Batman movie, I could say it's the best Batman movie. I trust Reeves because that also Let the Right One In, or the Apes movie. So I have so much game tape where it's like, until I get a bad movie from Reeves, I'm going to trust him. Is it my first pick? No. Do we need to do Harvey Dent again? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think Harvey Dent. Even then, though, I guess, like, there's things that they've done in the comics that they've not done with Harvey in the movies, right? Even them being good friends, him and Bruce. So there's stuff you can do. It's just, there's definitely more on the board that I was hoping he would go, right? I definitely always knew Dent would be in here. I thought they were the same way Dent was set up. I thought it was being like Hush with the Elliot stuff, right? Mike says, it's not like the Riddler was an obscure character either. It's all about how you adapt and make him feel unique. So I agree to a point, Mike, but I think the thing with me is like obviously there's two versions. I love the Jim Carrey Batman Forever performance in a fun way, but as an adaptation of Riddler, not a fan, right? If you just look at movies, it's just that, and it's just Paul Dano, the great Paul Dano. And what they did that Forever didn't do, they did one a serious Riddler. That was a big threat. And they did do a new adaptation, which was like a Jigsaw Riddler, a John Doe 7, right? So that's the only pushback I'd give is at least with Two-Face and Harvey, you got Dark Knight, which was a very serious interpretation, right? Riddler was still lacking that from a movie point of view. But you're right, that is a thing. And that's where I'm wondering. So in that sense, I trust Matt Reeves. It's not my first choice. I would love Matt Reeves. But to me, if him and Matt Tomlinson think that's the right story, in trust in Matt Reeves, I will do. So now as far as what I've wondered, the marketing in this character and like the Long Halloween aspect, I think that I've seen so many people, even that was the other thing, right? I saw tweets like, oh, it's Snyder says it's heavily inspired. I listened to the podcast and he even clarified, like, I just said that they were taking elements, but the internet ran with that, right? And said, oh, he's going to be wrong again. Because the problem is Gilda Dent has a big storyline there, but a lot of the people like Carmine or Alberto, a lot of characters from Long Halloween are off the board. So I think it's just going to adapt certain elements of the Dents there. And maybe other stuff, sure. Would I love it to be 12 months, the long Christmas, because they did Halloween? Would I love to be a 12-month story and we get a segment where Barry Keoghan has a airplane, like a mini helicopter, and Batman is on top of it trying to get him during Christmas? Fuck yeah. Imagine Barry Keoghan's Joker gone at Christmas. Like, that'd be fun. I don't think that's happening. But then, one of the last few panels of that book, what happens with a bunch of the villains, that I can see. That I can see. Let's see. Sam says, not sure if audio issues on your end or on mine. Let's see. Let me take a look. You're scaring me, sir. Hopefully I'm good. I think that's you because my mic's working and it says I'm on the right mic. So I'm sorry. If anyone else chat, let me know. But with Long Halloween, it ends in a way where it's like, oh, that makes sense. So I think it's like most stories. Mike says no issues here. So Sam, it might be your connection or something. So always refresh, or obviously you can check back at the feeds after the audio version. But with Long Halloween, I think they're just going to take portions of it. Same way as Dark Knight took portions. Same way as the Batman already took portions from it, right? So I don't think we're going to be getting any sort of full-on adaptation. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And I guess for me, with Riddler, like, I think Pattinson and being a new Batman, that was a selling point. But I have to say, like, I think Riddler and the way they did him is, I guess what I'm getting to is with Harvey Dent, is Harvey Dent in this movie going to be Two-Face as a setup, right? And if he is Two-Face, let's just say for argument's sake, he is going to become Two-Face. Do they show that in trailers? The Dark Knight, they could hint at it. They didn't have to show that because we got the Joker. We got, to quote that film, the ace in the hole, right? And that was Heath Ledger, greatest performance all time as Joker. In this, I don't think Two-Face is the same ace in the hole unless you do literally show he becomes Two-Face like right away. He's on marketing posters. Then I think that is a selling. If it's not, okay. So you got him. You got this new character, Gilda Dent. I don't think that's a big selling. Jeremiah Arkham, I don't think that's a big selling. You could use Barry's Joker more. If you were to use him similar to Long Halloween, maybe you use that as a selling point. Now, this is where I could be wrong. They could do, what was I going to say? Or just like in general, people, if they loved the Batman Part 1 and are just excited, you don't really have to get them in the door, right? Because the same way I could say with the Dark, I don't think the Batman's on the same level as the Dark Knight as far as hype, but the same way as like in the Dark Knight Rises, the villain was Bane, who I don't think is a very popular GA member villain at that point, but I'm saying people could name him, but it's not like a Joker, a Poison Ivy, Catwoman. Yeah, but see, that's a tough thing. I was going to say because the Dark Knight people are locked in, but they still had Catwoman, and Catwoman to me is an ace in the whole promotion. So yeah, I was gonna ask chat, same thing. Like Superman Mike says they haven't really done the crazy split personality Two-Face, but do you think from people you know in the GA, do you think Two-Face alone, even as just the Two-Face with the mess of face, do you think that is as big of a selling point as a Riddler, a Joker, a Catwoman? I think he's below or a tier below. And granted, there could be Jokers in this. There could be, and that's where even with last week we had Catwoman. If Catwoman was in this, I'd say I don't need to worry. He's still another ace in the hole character. I think Two-Face is like just below that, unless it's like a big, like Leo as Two-Face, like a big tier actor. So let me know in the chat if it is. As Riddler, yes. No, I'm saying is Two-Face as like Two-Face Is he? Yeah, you're saying he's as big as Riddler. I'm assuming, Mike. So like, okay, I still don't think so, but you could be right because like Dark Knight was a massive film. That is the villain. But as I've said though, I'll stand by if they don't show Two Face and it's just the holiday killer, a killer. If they just show Harvey, you need some sort of hook, right? You need something there, in my opinion. So we're just waiting, I think, for that other shoe to drop, or maybe they're just gonna coast off. Hey, we're gonna make this good movie. It's gonna be a mystery. People loved that first one. We're gonna hope they come back, and that's what makes me curious. As far as I always thought, okay, if let's say, what am I doing for time here? I got 4 minutes. If it was, um, I guess I even talked about this with ScarJo. If she was Phantasm, that's not an ace in the hole, but it's like you could maybe market that as like some newer character that's intriguing, like almost Bane in the GA, right? Like he's not newer, but like not a big established villain. And that's where I still thought Catwoman was gonna be. So yeah, it's tough as far as like I guess to walk back it, right? I always thought Harvey Dent would be in this movie, but I did not think he'd be the selling point villain. I always thought it'd be Harvey Dent and somebody else, or he turns into Two-Face, etc. As the selling point villain, who knows? I guess it depends who they get. Yeah, we'll see. I'm waiting because we got these rumors, and if they're casting stuff now, I guess what we got about 16 days. I don't think they're gonna officially let us know, but let's see. Superman says they really didn't sell Riddler as hard as Riddler for the first one. He was more 7 serial killer. Yeah, and you're right, right, and that's the thing where it's just like to your point with the split personality thing. I do like that with Two-Face, and you could sell that. It's just like, if Gilda Dent is in there, is it Gilda or Glilda? I don't know. If ScarJo's playing his wife, I feel like he's not going to be Harvey right away, right? So, oh geez, Disney developing a new live action Gaston movie. All right, we'll say that. Weekly Geek Boys, they could talk about that. Yeah, and that's the thing, right, Mike? And that's where it comes back to what I said with the Dents, everything. I think you might be similar to mine. I know Maddie would be. I trusted in Matt Reeves, and those trailers, especially that first one. I don't know if all time, but I can say that first Batman from the fandom, easily a top 3 comic book trailer of all time. It could be up there for a top 10, top 20. It is phenomenal, right? So I trust them. I just want to see like what is the angle of it, right? Gilda could be the lawyer. Harvey is already Two-Face, which I would love. The two things I pitched when we were some GA was that, because then you could have maybe Gilda doing some stuff on the side. Or I did wonder, and maybe you'd get some red eye thumbnails, who knows? I wonder if you could use Harvey as a fake out and Gilda is actually Two-Face in this. I'd be fine with it. I would love it if ScarJo was like a race, or not race swap. That already happened, got her in trouble once. If there's a gender swap Two-Face with ScarJo, that'd be fun. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm just loving that we're getting Batman 2 news. Yeah, you'd like that too. Yeah, pun on the 2 there. But yeah, I would love that because like again, we got so many Two-Faces. I don't care if they change it up a little. Let's have some fun with it, right? Like look at what they did with Vicky Vale in the Telltale series. Like change it up, do some stuff. So that is Travis told you for this week. I will be. Let me just confirm the calendar. Yeah, I'll be back for Wednesday. Wednesday should be the same time, 11 a.m. PST. Who knows what breaks there? It might be an evergreen because the boys got Weekly Geek because they moved Fallout. So the schedule I haven't posted yet because it's all over. But thank you very much. This is easily the most watched Travis told you. I know a lot of you were here for the Doomsday talk, but surprised you stuck around. The viewership just went up. So I very much appreciate that. Let me know on the posts on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or Patreon, or the Discord. Join that. Talk about that there. And yeah, I'll be back Wednesday. You'll see what happens. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of your week. And I promise when you hear from me next, it'll